Hey guys, so I think I've finally cracked the D&D code on how to properly translate devil fruits into D&D. And if this is something you found already on a third-party website or something like that, just tell me in the comments below. But for now, let's just get right into it. So when you consume a devil fruit in One Piece, right, you gain the ability of whatever the devil fruit was, of course, but it also fundamentally changes you at the DNA level to a blank human. So you're no longer just a man or a woman, you are now a thunder man or a thunder woman, a snake man or a snake woman, a fireman or a fire woman. This fundamentally needs to be implemented at the racial level of D&D. So on top of whatever racial feats you have, dragonborn, tiefling, whatever, you now get a bonus racial feat section. Now this is where things will get tricky, and it should strictly to be discussed between you and the DM. So there's a few questions you need to ask yourself to begin with. Does it increase your size? Does it increase your age potentially with certain devil fruits we know of? Does it change your alignment potentially? Certain carnivorous zoans typically have a darker side to them. Or does this come with an inherent ability? Does this devil fruit give you reach automatically? Does this devil fruit increase your speed automatically? These are things you will put in the racial section, again, to be discussed with your DM. For example, if you get the diamond fruit eaten by Diamond Jozu in One Piece, I think it's called like the sparkle fruit, but let's just, talk about diamonds real quick. He gets unbreakable skin. So this would give him an AC of the highest armor class. Now, I wouldn't say his AC is infinite. We just don't know the upward capability, because later on in Marineford, what happens? In his diamond form, he gets his arm frozen off by Aokiji. So I would just say, I would translate it to, this racial bonus, right, is a bonus action. It's a bonus action you do at the start of combat. You engage diamond mode. Engaging diamond mode gives you the AC of the highest armor class available. Whether it be 20 to 25, that's for your DM to determine, but I would say that is fair in terms of the usage of that devil fruit. Now, where things get tricky is determining passive and active actions for the devil fruit. For example, a bonus action of activating a devil fruit like the diamond fruit is a little bit easier than normal, because you already, that's all it does. It just coats your body in diamond. Now, you can't coat your entire body in diamond. You have to look that up for One Piece specifically. You have to see that Diamond Jozu always keeps half of his face uncovered, because if he turns his whole face into diamond, he'll just die. Seriously, look it up. It's a caveat of the devil fruit, which, again, you would have to know the ins and outs of these devil fruits. And using homebrew devil fruits, you will have to be very close with your DM. You guys need to work on a happy medium. So, again, a passive devil fruit action, just a bonus action at the start of combat, granting you your diamond capabilities. Now, to make it active, he has movement during the diamond phase. When he is in his diamond mode, he can punch people, and of course that's going to give him a massive attack bonus, but that attack bonus can't be massive always. So you can roll something along the lines of a d6 up to a d12, maybe dependent on your level. Maybe as you level up, it changes your racial bonus starting at the second level. You can roll a d6 as opposed to a d4. Starting at the 5th, 6th, and 7th level, you can roll a d8 as opposed to a d6, and then getting up to level 20, then it'll change to like a d12, something like that. And if that makes sense to you, then you don't really need any more explanation on active powers for Paramecius. However, it still needs to be locked at the racial level, and certain devil fruit actions have to come at the cost of class actions. So if you're a barbarian or a fighter and you're using one of your fighter-based class actions or barbarian-based class actions, but you also want to use your devil fruit in tandem with that, I'm sorry, it just can't happen. I just don't think it's fair to the DM unless the DM is, and we're going to get to this later in the video, abusing Haki and Seaprism Stone. But again, later in the video. So, for example, sticking with the Paramecia class, let's move on to the Wax Devil Fruit, wielded by Mr. 3 in One Piece. So, the Wax Devil Fruit not only coats things in a hard case of wax, so that could be an AC bonus, of course, right? But you can make things longer, so you get access to the ability of reach. Now, making the wax hard and making the wax longer are two separate things. So again, this is something you would need to discuss with the DM. Are you talented enough? And this would probably, in my opinion, the DM should constitute some sort of wisdom check or intelligence check or performance check in general, right? Can you create a wax armament fast enough and intelligently enough to make it both reach, like a reach capable, and hard, as in it comes with extra AC, so it's not so brittle as to be shattered if you and your opponent were to clash, right? That's just something to think about further. But there's other things to think about beyond that. For example, let's go into the Zoan class now. If you're a Zoan Devil Fruit user, it's automatically a bonus action at the start of combat or at the start of any type of phase in general to just shift gears, right? To just be the whole animal form, your regular human form, and your hybrid form. Now, how do you justify using your, let's go with Rob Lucci, the Leopard Man, right? How do you justify using your hybrid form in conjunction with your attacks? Well, again, this is a little bit tricky because it should come at the cost of a class action, right? So if you're using some sort, like let's say you're a rogue, because Rob Lucci kind of is like a fighter and a rogue mixed together. Let's say you're going to do some rogue stuff, like sneak attack, for example. Well, you're in your hybrid Zoan form, and you've gained about 6 feet of height and about 150 feet, or 150 pounds of weight. You're not sneaky anymore, I'm sorry. Like, that's just, you need to think about it. It's not, who the fuck isn't going to see you coming, right? So, you sacrifice your sneak attack, but instead, you get the damage of the sneak attack still. However, you don't get like the surprise bonus. So like everyone and their mom can see you. That means that as they see you running up, they get an opportunity attack. And although that's not necessarily how opportunity attacks work, I'm just saying this, you know, DM to player, player to DM, you have to take and give, right? Because you can't just be almighty with your Devil Fruit unless you don't mind, again, your DM just absolutely abusing you with Haki users and Seaprism Stone wielders left and right. So, that being said, a Zoan capabilities over a Paramecia's capabilities. Let's just do some basic rules before we hit the Logias, because the Logia is probably going to be the longest explanation here in the video. For Paramecia's, to properly implement a Paramecia into D&D, you first need to decide what part of the racial feat is passive and active. What part of the racial feat gives you, as a wax human, for example, activating the Devil Fruit, just turning your limbs to wax mode so you get ready to create and craft. Should be a bonus action, no big deal. But creating and crafting, that should be a whole action. So unless you're a fighter with 2 actions, right, you do not get to just create a wax staff and then attack in the same turn. That's BS, right? Again, that's just simple, you know, it's just for fairness sake, right? Especially if you're creating a weapon with reach. Like, you should not be able to just automatically attack with it next turn unless you are a fighter or you have a bonus attack, or, you know, like fighters get 2 attacks, right? Blah, blah, blah. As a Zoan form user, again, switching between the 3 modes, hybrid, regular form, and animal form, bonus action. Again, no big deal. But applying the movements and the abilities of said animal, again, we're going to go hybrid form Rob Lucci, and we're going to dig our claws into your freaking chest. That needs to be heavily discussed with the DM. Are you doing a sneak attack as a rogue? Are you getting those D4 rolls plus whatever extra damage the claws will do? Or do your claws just simply replace your dagger and you still get that sneak attack damage? Again, discuss that with your DM. DMs discuss it with your players. That's just something that needs to be set in stone when you begin the campaign, because it's really just not going to be fair, right? So that's just how I would implement it personally. Now, again, as for Zoans and Paramecias, as you level up, maybe your class traits will get stronger and better. See, for example, for Zoans, right? Let's go back to Zoans. Different types of like ability modifiers. All right, let's go to the D&D Player's Manual, page 43. We're gonna just look at the Tiefling traits. I'll put a player card up here. So, they get an ability score increase. So just ask yourself this: does your Devil Fruit justify an ability score increase. And it's going to be temporary because you activate the Devil Fruit as a Paramecia user at separate times. If it's something that you and your DM both feel like it can be a permanent ability score increase, go ahead and go that route. But I personally suggest keeping it at the temporary level, because that way, when you're not active, it's a little bit easier on your DM to mess you up. And let's just be fair. Does it affect your age? Now, this is just a Devil Fruit by Devil Fruit case. Obviously, there's only one Devil Fruit that we know of in the series that does it, and we won't discuss it here. Does it affect your alignment? I don't think that really matters unless you're in the carnivorous Zoan type, okay? Then, does it affect your size? Now, this one should be heavily discussed between you and the DM. Can you shrink? Can you make yourself taller? Can you step on wax and create a bunch of wax armaments around you to make yourself taller? It should be discussed. Speed, you know what I mean? Like, that should be a given. Does wax make you faster? No, the hell it doesn't. So that's just dependent on how you express the power as a character. Now, this is going to determine how you go with the other racial bonuses. You are now a wax human, right? So where Tieflings have dark vision, you will have wax activation. This can just be a small paragraph explaining how you get a bonus action at the start of combat to activate your wax-based powers. You can craft and create any wax construct. You can coat yourself in wax, and you can coat others in wax, right? That should just be what the paragraph says. Then they have hellish resistance. You would have wax resistance. When coated in wax, you get a certain amount of yada 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 to your AC. But not all of these powers need to be listed here. I think a lot of the stuff can just be relegated to Devil Fruit activation. The Zoans will get a little bit more explanation, and I'll do that in just a moment, and then we'll do a whole Logia section next. But for Paramecias, right? Again, you get your Paramecia activation, you get your Paramecia resistances, because let's say, you know, you're a Paramecia class that's naturally resistant to something else, or naturally weak to something else. You should have those written down, set in stone, makes things easier, avoids confusion later. And then, you know, all your powers are going to be inherently based on what you can think of as the player, right? Like, Luffy is a Gum Gum blah blah blah, he does Gum Gum Balloon, but like maybe you wouldn't do Gum Gum Balloon as the Gum Gum user. Just think about it that way. You don't need to list every single one of your powers down here. It should probably just be relegated to a paragraph that says Wax Human, Eater of the Wax Devil Fruit. This gives you wax activation, you know, again, bonus activation at the start of combat. It's a bonus action, but then doing other things, using the power, takes one action always. And that goes for all the Devil Fruits across the board. Now, for Zoans, this changes things a lot. You know, for example, if you're a Rhino person, you are gonna get an AC bonus. If you're an Elephant person, you're gonna get an AC bonus. If you're a Leopard person, you're gonna get a speed bonus. So that should be allocated to your racial character card. Regardless of what your race was beforehand, you are now a Leopard plus Dragonborn. You are now Leopard plus Gnome. So yeah, put those speed bonuses, put those AC bonuses, maybe make your ability score increases at the permanent level when you're in hybrid form. You know, obviously in your animal form, and then list it if it leaves for your human form. Again, the alignment section also can be something that is discussed between the player and DM. Does being a leopard person justify making you slightly evil on the alignment scale, right? Now, then you can go ahead and fill out the rest of the things. Does a leopard have dark vision? I think they might, right? Does a leopard have hellish resistance like a tiefling? No, but they have leopard speed. They have fangs, they have claws, they can jump. So look up stuff that a leopard can do and put that onto your character, right? So like if a leopard can run 60, miles an hour, translate that to feet per second, and then look at how that translates to the D&D feet in speed movements, if that makes sense, right? So from there you can just add whatever you feel the need to, but you don't really need to plug up your character card. Just put some animal facts, make it relevant to whether the animal is fast or resistant or a combination of both. Or, are you a hawk? Can you zoom in and look at pinpoint a mouse running through the blades of grass 60 feet away from you? Just things of that nature. Remember that and apply it to your character's animalistic traits as a Zoan. Now, for Logias, here's something about Logias that they mostly all come with except Blackbeard, right? The intangibility aspect. How do you put that in D&D fairly? Well, we're going to change it to, yes, you're intangible. However, it is a save, but the save is bonus health if you miss, right? So you get to roll a certain amount of bonus health. You can do your intangibility save plain, like 50-50, it hits you or not, right? That's just up to you and the DM. So basically what I'm saying is, on top of what I'm going to describe as Logia activation and passive powers, the first one needs to be brought up right away is the intangibility bonus. Does your element give you intangibility? And if it does, how is it expressed? Are you sand? Do you just dissipate into granules of sand? And does that not affect you whatsoever, right? So you can do that as, and I would say as a reflex action. I don't think it's fair to just have it as a bonus action at the start of combat only. It should be a bonus action for activation if that's how you want to start off combat. But at the same time, attacking with it costs a class action. You can't just be using your sorcerer level 1 spells and then shooting sand behind it. We're not doing that, right? You can do it at higher levels, obviously. If you can cast more than 1 spells and you have your action slots and all that, go ahead and get that out of the way. But to start, to just put the list down, right? It would be Logia, human, whatever your Logia element is, blank, human. So sand, human, intangibility activation, bonus action, reflex action, cunning action. Just between you and the DM, how does it work, right? For example, the ice user, Aokiji, he's not really going to be needing a cunning action, but he can go ahead and have the bonus action for the start of combat if he wants to start combat off in ice form, and then, you know, reflex actions. If you didn't start combat in the form, you get a reflex action when you get attacked. That will put you in intangibility mode. Does that make sense? Let me know down below if you like that. I know I'm going really fast, but this is a rewatchable video and it's for free on my channel, so just pause, rewind. I'm going to have tons of editing up on the side to make it easier for you. I'll have a list per, you know, paramecia, Zoan, activation, this and that. So just bear with me, okay? Now, another thing, does the element come with a natural inherent weakness? For the ice user, obviously, weak to fire. You suffer some sort of, you know, negative to your roll, or they get a bonus to their roll against you if they're using fire. If someone's yeeting a fireball at you and you're in ice form, right, it's going to hurt a little extra. Again, also take into consideration what the lore in One Piece states. For example, if you're Blackbeard and you have the Blackbeard Devil Fruit, the Yami Yami no Mi, the Darkness Fruit, everything is drawn to you. Everything hurts when it hits you, and you don't get the ability to simply just go intangible. So if you're not good at dodging and you don't have defense and cunning and reflex actions to save you, you're gonna get hurt badly with Blackbeard's Devil Fruit. So think about that before you use his in your campaign, right? So the Logia activation powers. You have your actions, you have your bonus actions, which would be Logia activation at the start of combat. Are you intangible or not? Are you in ice mode or not, sand mode or not, yada, yada, yada. If you're not, you get a bonus action in the form of the reflex action later on in combat. Does someone attack you and you have enough time to react, turn to sand, because it's going to be a check and a save. If it's just a straight up action that you and the DM agree upon that it's automatic, it should be a 1 to 2 time thing. And then it should start going to saves. Because anytime you get a reflex action, it's just not going to be fair if you can never be hit. And again, it's understandable for mooks to never be able to hit you, that's fine. But again, you have to have, and again, we're going to talk about this later for DMs, how to equalize devil fruits against you. But you got to look out for opponents that have your natural weakness. If you're Enel and you're using the Rumble fruit, the lightning fruit, you're a Logia made of lightning, right? Electricity, and you're hitting Luffy, nothing happens to Luffy. So think about that. If you're Blackbeard, all damage to you is not only doubled, but drawn, as in they don't have to all they have to do is simply hit you to get the bonus damage effect. If they miss, they miss. If you dodge, you dodge. But if they hit you, double damage all up in your face, it's gonna hurt. If you're Crocodile, Does someone spit on you and harden that part of your body? Do they get their own blood and take some damage but harden you so you can't become intangible anymore? These are things you have to, again, discuss with your DM. I'm just going to put a freaking card. I'm about to make a counter every time I say discuss with your DM. We'll have a counter on the top left side of the video. That'll be fun, right? So now let me put this away really quick. Let's talk about equalization in terms of the dungeon master being able to fight against devil fruit users. One, add some devil fruit users to your side of the campaign. Done deal. But Haki and Seaprism Stone, introduce those to your campaign. Do not make yourself suffer. For Haki, now there's probably agreed upon rule sets already existing in D&D. However, I personally think it should work like this. When you do observation Haki, it's just, you know, you get a bonus action to doing a type of what's it called? To use observation Haki, I think it should work like this. You perform a perception check that has a grand radius. Now that grand radius is, again, I don't know if it's discussed between you and your DM or if you can think of how far your Haki at your level goes. Haki obviously grows with the person, it blooms in combat, but Haki should have rules decided upon. If there's a rule set you like already existing out there, go ahead and use that. But for me, I would say observation Haki is like a 30-foot radius. I think that's fair. I think it's pretty big, but not all encompassing. And if you want to shrink it as your DM, or if you want to increase it as a DM, go ahead, let the player run wild, right? So rules for Haki are going to be as follows. Like again, if you have a Haki rule set you already like to use, if you've homebrewed one or found one online that works for you, go ahead and just use that then. But for me, I would prefer this way. Haki for observation is based off your perception. You can add your perception bonus or your proficiency bonus to your perception at any time. And if you're already proficient in perception, you can add your perception bonus or your proficiency bonus to your perception twice. That is because observation Haki is ridiculous in One Piece. It tells you the exact location of someone, and if you're strong enough and good enough in Haki, and this should just be based off how high your perception bonus currently is. So like 1 to 3, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, you should only be able to do like a 20-foot radius of observation Haki around you and pinpoint exactly one person at a time. You shouldn't be able to do like 16 people at once, right? For Conqueror's Haki, for Armament Haki, there's twofold ways to do it. You can apply your attack bonus twice on an attack, but it takes a bonus attack to activate, or it's a bonus action to activate the Haki and Armament, but it also takes something else to be determined between you and the DM. In my opinion, there should be like a drawback to constantly using your Armament Haki. You should have like a finite amount of times you can use it, because like consistently being able to apply extra damage is going to be rough unless the DM is also using Haki users, right? And then to defend with Haki, you get a flat bonus to your AC, or you can roll something like a D4 or a D6. I don't think it should be any higher than that, because we've seen people with Haki still get mollywopped by people without it, right? So, you know, I just think personally defending with Haki should be a D4 to a D6. It just makes it a lot easier. It's a reflex action, not a bonus action in my opinion, and I think that it should just come with the Haki training. Haki should be a feat, and you should have to take it multiple times. So it should sacrifice other feats in the game, especially at higher levels, making it a little bit more tricky to do things like awaken that devil fruit or stack yourself up with multiple feats and make yourself a really broken character. So what I'm basically getting to is all of that is just to say that Haki is going to come in the form of 3 feats: observation, armament, and conquerors. Conquerors has to be something you're born with. I don't know how you can explain that further, but look it up in the chapters where Luffy is on Ruskaina Island. You are born with Conqueror's Haki. You have to unlock it as well, so you just have to talk about that with your DM if you're worthy of getting Conqueror's Haki or not. I personally think it should be a feat unlocked through great duress. So if your whole party is downed and you're all that's left, and you're the leader, and you're whooping this dragon's ass, and you actually pull it off and you have 1 health left, let that Conqueror's Haki bloom. You let it unlock. You have it forever now, but it costs a feat if you want to keep it, right? You can have it unlocked, sure, but you can't activate it again unless you get that Conqueror's Haki feat. Sacrifice them other feats. That's just what it is. It is what it is, right? Haki is not trainable by everyone, so just the fact that you have it is going to cost something, and I think a feat is perfectly acceptable. And if you want to be a master in all three forms of Haki, well, you got to wait, buddy. You got to master observation, you got to master armament and conquerors. And then at the higher levels, right, like starting, let's say at level 2, that can be, you know, attack for armament, that can just be coding yourself for attacking and defending. And then advanced armament comes at level, like, you know, like 6 above, and that's going to be like adding a d6 over a d4. Maybe it's just a flat 5 to your AC when you defend with it, that kind of yada yada yada. But for Conqueror's Haki, well, let's look at what Conqueror's does. Starting at level 2, you know, you should be able to knock out someone at your same level, just one person though. Starting at level 6, you should be able to knock out d6 people, maybe d10 people. At level 16, you know, at level 10, level 16, higher levels than that, it should get a little bit more ridiculous, because let's be frank, Conqueror's Haki is ridiculous. Now, to do Conqueror's coding, I think that should be an additional feat straight up. It's just a really broken power. It not only supersedes armament, but it would probably absolutely freaking destroy someone. I don't know what the damage should be. A d10? Bonus on whatever attack? You got to think about that kind of stuff, right? So all of that to say that Haki is busted, but it comes at a great cost. You have to use, you know, 3 feat slots to get all of them. And you have to be born with the gene of Conqueror's Haki. That has to be discussed with you and your DM. Again, counter. And for example, it's just something that I think is going to make the campaign smoother. If you take a feat, you sacrifice it, and you learn observation Haki, that doesn't necessarily mean you're locked out of the other ones, right? And if you're a Devil Fruit user, this is how you awaken. You have to have one of the 3 Haki feats. When you awaken, I think it should automatically happen at level 7 or level 10, maybe as late as level 12, because let's be real, an awakening in any form in D&D is just going to throw things off the rails and make it really hard for the player and DM. Obviously, it's going to be awesome, it's going to be strong, it's going to be powerful, but awakening is so broken in One Piece already that what do you think it's going to do to your campaign when you turn something to string like Doflamingo? You just point at a building and the whole fucking building is now your string pile that you're just whipping around at people, right? So it shouldn't be any earlier than level 7. Personally, I think you should have to wait till level 12. That's just me. Now, Seaprism Stone. It should automatically be one of the most expensive, like, ores, items, and weapon types and armor types in your campaign. I think it should personally cost minimum 20 gold pieces for whatever. Even if it's a Seaprism nail like we saw in Wano, 20 gold. It's broken. You flick it at a Devil Fruit user, all of a sudden that entire race bonus, the whole point of this video, gone, because you are now hit with Seaprism Stone. So just think about that. Very simple way to implement it. I highly suggest not giving it to your players as a DM. Half the crews in One Piece don't have access to Seaprism Stone at all. The only one we've ever seen is Law with the Seaprism nails, and that was actually from Hawkins, from the Kaido Beast Pirates. Someone who has accessibility and is like a level 20 boss had access to Seaprism Stone, right? So think about that. Add it to your campaign at your risk, but definitely add it for sure should you have 2 or 3 Devil Fruit users in your party. Anyways, I think that has covered most of the D&D rules for Devil Fruits. In conclusion, Paramecia, Zoan, and Logia, when you activate that Devil Fruit, when you eat the Devil Fruit, it is now part of your race. You are a whatever gnome, dragonborn human, a wax gnome, a wax dragonborn, a wax human, a Zoan hybrid form, whatever, or a elemental human person Logia. It's part of your race now. You have a new set of racial features. They get stronger as you level up. Most of them are activated with a bonus action. However, attacking should definitely be taken out of your class action. You don't get to just attack with your class action powers, even if you're a fighter. If you're whacking someone with a wax bat, you're not getting them fighter bonuses unless your DM says so. And that's just, to me, it's just fair that way. Yeah, I think that's it. You can't awaken without knowing Haki. I discussed the Haki feats. There will be very big, bold letters of what I'm talking about in each section of the video. I'll have that goofy ass discuss it with your DM counter in the front or in the top left corner. And if you made it past this, to this point of the video, like and subscribe. This is going to be a video that is linked into every D&D Devil Fruit video I have going forward. I have a whole playlist of Devil Fruits for D&D. They haven't really been expressing the D&D traits. These are more so just ideas, but go ahead and check that playlist out if you don't mind. I have nearly 20 plus episodes, if not I'm past episode 20 already. And a lot of it is user-generated Devil Fruits from you, the audience. I pick them once a week, and it takes me about a week to translate them to the full idea of what they can be and how they can be used. And now I'm including in a whole new section in my D&D Devil Fruit videos where I talk about what exactly the racial bonus it'll be, what kind of damage it does, and, you know, just to help you make those ideas go further. From there, I would like to say thank you for watching, and I really appreciate your viewership. Hit me up with a like and subscribe if you support this and you like it. There is always the paid option for the Devil Fruit done via my Ko-Fi. You just donate to the Ko-Fi and send me your email and we will be in touch. It gives you a full video, 15 plus minutes usually, of just your idea. You don't got to share it with the other ideas or my ideas. It's just your video. So keep that in mind. Everybody, thank you again. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.